I'm not singing a song. So one of the things that I particularly love about your fellowship is the taking the name from the Psalms and also your constant invocation of them. A thing that you may or may not know is that historically, both biblical scholars and theologians delight in saying that the book of Psalms is the little Bible, and many of them say that if they were to be stranded and they couldn't have the entirety of the scriptures, if they at least had the Psalms, they would have enough. And that's not least because the Psalms are very beautiful in that they are the words of the people who wrote them, of David and the other psalmists, but they're also, as we know from reading in the Gospels, they're the words of Christ. Again and again, he brings out the words of the Psalms. And sometimes we think of the Psalms as being our own, and they certainly are, but we, in fact, as the church, are third and last. But the Psalms are so beautiful in that they teach us how to pray, as God teaches us to pray. And yet, of course, as we see that constant witness all the way back into the Old Testament, seeing the faithful witness of God throughout the entirety of Scriptures. And so I thought I'd reflect on a psalm. Now, I thought I was dodging speaking tonight, but I showed up and got asked again if I might sing or speak. And I'm not singing for two reasons. One, I do not sing in any context in which I'm recorded. There is no evidence of me ever singing online, much to the chagrin of many students over the years. So I have to keep it consistent with that. The other is that I've largely lost my singing voice over the past 2 weeks, just the nature of my job, so that I talk so much that you don't want to hear me sing this evening anyway. But I'm still going to reflect on music for just a moment. But because I didn't prepare, I cannot remember whether it's Psalm 98 or 93 that I'm going to reference. I think it's 93, but I'm not 100% on this. But this is a good one as you bring in so many young folk into your fellowship and the parents' involvement as well. How many of you are familiar with the hymnodist Isaac Watts? A few of you. He's a lovely fellow. Apparently, if you want to be a famous English hymnodist, if you want to be famous for writing hymns, your last name needs to start with Watts or Wesley. Isaac Watts has 12 that are in here. Wesley has 13. I'm not sure why he triumphed. But they're the two great hymn writers in the English language, among many others. But Isaac Watts, when he was about 17, and this is give or take a year, was complaining to his father about the state of the worship music. He did not like the hymns. He thought they were terrible. And his father said to him, well, if you dislike them so much, do better. And he did. At 17, then he continued to write them. And he was among the dissenters, so he ended up writing a famous work of logic, but he himself was never able to teach at Oxford University because he was not part of the Anglican Church. Interestingly enough, though, the textbook that he wrote in logic was used there for 100 years. And his hymns, to this day, are of course sung in the Anglican Church and in many churches throughout the world. And what I particularly delight in with Isaac Watts is that he decided to reflect upon Psalm, I think it's 93, but it might be 98. And when he reflected on it, he came up with a particular hymn. And I'm just going to hold that down for a moment. In this hymn, it's actually listed in this hymnal as being a Christmas hymn. It is not a Christmas hymn. In fact, it was originally written as being seasonless. But if we wanted to plunk it into a Christmas season, the appropriate one would be Advent, the season leading into Christmas. Advent means coming, and venio, come, come, Emmanuel. But that plea, when I was growing up, I always thought that it was just us doing a historical lesson and thinking about what the Israelites must have thought about Christ coming. But it's not that. It's partly that, but it's also and predominantly about Christ's second coming. And Isaac Watts, in reflecting upon the Psalms, crafted a hymn that's about Christ's second coming. Again, it's appropriate year-round, but especially at Advent. You can still sing it at Christmas because it's certainly lovely and fitting. I'm going to read just the lyrics. I'm not going to add the repeats. And I want you to listen to it And later you can figure out whether it's 93 or 98. I'll try to remember and send that to you. Look at the psalm, and then think about this particular hymn, and I think you'll recognize the text. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the earth, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ, while fields and floods, rocks, hills, and plains repeat the sounding joy. No more let sin and sorrows grow, nor thorns infest the ground. He comes to make his blessings known, far as the curse is found. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness and wonders of his love. That's a reflection on the Psalms, much as you do consistently and regularly. So I thank you for inviting me tonight, and I thank you for letting me speak. It's a blessing to be with all of you.